We're getting on to a little bit more complicated signs. Don't be scared. They're not going to be that bad. But stuff like this, which at first glance, what are all those arrows doing? Not so bad. Call front, finish right, and halt. So while heeling, the handler stops forward motion and calls the dog to the front position. Dog sits in front and faces the handler. The handler may take several steps backward as the dog turns and moves to sit in the front position. The second part is the finish to the right, where the dog must return to heel position by moving around the right side of the handler. The dog must sit in heel position before moving forward with the handler. So, hopefully, you already have a right finish where the dog basically from sitting in front of you returns to heel position by going around the right side of your body. If they don't, it's pretty easy and quick to train. Your dog for the novice exercises is going to be on leash, and you just change the leash around behind your back and get your dog to sit at the end. Then we have things like halt, right turn, forward. So this is, they kind of like to trip you up a little bit. They're similar, not quite. So with the dog sitting in heel position, the handler commands the dog to heel. As the handler turns to the right and continues to move forward in the new direction without hesitation. The dog must turn with the handler. It's considered a stationary exercise. So the thing is that when you turn, then you just continue on to your next sign. That's all. There's no sitting after you turn. But they want the dog to move with you. Ooh, one of my favorites. Left about turn. Some people call this the Schützen turn. Basically, it's a right finish. Moving. So, you are the small arrow. This is you. This is your dog. You do it simultaneously in one fluid motion. Looks like a dance move. Call front, finish left, forward. While heeling, the handler stops forward motion and calls the dog to the front position. Dog sits in front and faces the handler. The handler may take several steps backwards as the dog turns and moves to sit in the front position. The second part of the exercise directs the handler to move forward while commanding the dog to change from the front position to the handler's left by moving to heel position as the handler continues forward. The dog does not sit before moving forward in heel position with the handler. Lots of arrows going on here. Don't be scared. Call front. So you call your dog, come front. Take a couple steps backward to line them up. They sit. Then you finish left and you don't let them sit. So finish left is your dog returning to heel position on the left-hand side of your body. But when they get there, you just keep on moving to the next sign. Don't let them sit. Whew. This one, what is going on here? So they took this exercise from agility. Serpentine weave once. So you enter the pylons the same way the dog would if you were entering weave poles. So the sign for this one is going to be on your, let's see the arrow right there. So this is you, and you are going to be coming around. So you're coming in this way, and you're just going around once. This exercise requires 4 pylons placed in a straight line with spaces between them of approximately 6 to 8 feet. The exercise sign is placed near or on the first pylon where the exercise is started. Entry into the weave pattern is with the first pylon at the dog handler's left side. Note, in this exercise, the team does not return as they do in the straight figure eight, but weaves in one direction only. So, this is one of the rare ones where the first pylon and the sign is going to be pretty much at the first pylon. It's going to be on your left. Woo! This one too. Spiral right, dog outside. There's also a spiral left, dog outside. What the heck? How do you do a spiral? So there's 3 pylons and you are going to go around them. So the sign's generally at the beginning and then you just go. So I count when I do this with my dog. I go 3, 2, 1, and I'm out. That's how you do a spiral, in short. This exercise requires 3 pylons placed in a straight line with spaces approximately 6 to 8 feet. Spiral right indicates the handler must turn to the right when moving around each pylon. This places the dog on the outside of the turn, and the exercise sign is placed near or on the first pylon when the spiral is started. There's a little diagram they've included in the rule book for you. Lovely. 3, 2, 1. Remember that for spirals. Okay, then we got halt, 1, 2, 3. I have screwed this sign up more times than I care to admit. Why? Because I'm going through the course pretty quick and I do a stutter step. Yeah, and the judge is pretty quick and caught me. So, be careful. Don't do it. Make sure your steps are 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. So, the team halts when the dog sitting in heel position to begin the exercise. The handler takes 1 step forward with the dog maintaining heel position, then halts. The dog sits, then the handler halts. This is followed by 2 steps forward, halt, and 3 steps forward, halt, and the dog heeling each time the handler moves forward, and sitting each time the handler halts. Counting. Very important for that exercise. Ooh, here's 1. Halt, down, walk around the dog. So just tell them stay, circle around them, turn to heel position, carry on. Call front. Again, counting is essential. 1 step back. So you get your dog to front and then you just call them to come. Come as you take 1 step back. 1, 2 steps back, come. 1, 2, 3 steps, come. It's really harder than it actually looks here. "270-degree left turn." So very, very similar to a circle. They like this tight. So that's the key here. They want a tight circle. Call front, return to heel. So for this one, while heeling, the handler stops forward motion, calls the dog to the front position. The handler may take several steps backward as the dog turns and moves to sit in the front position. The dog sits in front and faces the handler. The handler then walks around behind the dog, returns to the heel position and pauses. The dog must remain sitting as the handler walks around it. This is a 180-degree change of direction, about turn. So, don't be confused by this. What you're going to do is you're going to call your dog to come front, and then you just tell them to stay or wait, and you find heel position around your dog. spiral. It's like a whirlpool. Seriously, you get in there, those pylons, things are going around, people get dizzy. I haven't seen anybody faint, but I have heard a lot of people say that they have gotten dizzy. Remember just to count. So you want to go around 3 of them first, then 2 of them, then 1. So 3, 2, 1. Halt. Slow forward from a sit. So just be careful of your change in pace. It needs to be noticeable. Moving, side step right. People, well, I think they get a little more excited about this sign than they need to. It's nothing. While heeling, the handler takes 1 step directionally or diagonally to the right, leading with the right foot, and continues moving forward along the newly established line. The dog moves with the handler. The exercise shall be performed just before the exercise sign. So before and often, I use the sign. So the sign is on my right and moving side step right. So I just cut across and carry on. What they want to see is that your dog moves with you. Down and stop. While moving with the dog in heel position, the handler commands the dog to down. As the handler comes to a stop next to the dog, once the dog is completely down, the handler moves forward, commanding the dog to heel from the down position. Don't get scared. This isn't IPO. It doesn't have to be that fancy. Just ask your dog to down and all will be good. And stop. And then carry on to the next sign. Call front. Finish left and halt. So while heeling, the handler stops forward motion and calls the dog to the front position. Dog sits in front and faces the handler. The handler may take several steps backward as the dog turns and moves to a sit in the front position. The second part is the finish to the left, where the dog must move to the handler's left and sit in heel position. The dog must sit in heel position before moving forward in heel position with the handler. Straight figure 8, weave twice. You do it twice. That's all. This exercise requires 4 pylons placed in a straight line with spaces between them of approximately 6 to 8 feet. The exercise is placed near or on the first pylon where the exercise is started. Entry into the weaving pattern is with the first pylon at the dog handler's left side. The dog and handler circle the end pylon and return, weaving once in each direction. So this is one of those crazy signs that is different than all the rest. All the rest are on your right, except for these crazy pylons. And pretty much just the ones that say weave, because that's an agility thing they've stolen. Well, borrowed. 270, right turn. While heeling, the team makes a 270-degree turn in the handler's right. 270-degree turns are performed as a tight circle, but not around the exercise sign. Halt, left turn, forward. So you stop, get your dog to sit, you turn left, and forward you go. For these left turns and right turns, what I like to do is pivot on my heel. So for this left turn, I would be pivoting on my left heel. Personally, it's really not a requirement, but that's what I like to do. And I like to really practice those pivots so they're nice and tight and kind of flashy and impressive. Because I kind of want to wow the judge